The quarterback. It is a position that has all eyes on them, 24/7. When they play good, it is great, and everyone is raving about their play and how they won the game for their team. If it's bad, they are often the point of blame for any team. In today's video, I am going to be talking about Week 1 performances by quarterbacks and giving them grades. Now, obviously, I cannot cover every quarterback on the FBS Division 1 level, as that would probably be near impossible for one video. So, in today's video, I have quarterbacks who did great, good, mediocre, bad, and straight up terrible. As usual, before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first quarterback I'm going to be talking about in today's video is North Carolina quarterback Drake May, and I'm giving him an A+ grade for Week 1 at Appalachian State, as he led the Tar Heels in a 63-61 victory in which he completed 67% of his passes, threw for 352 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, while also accounting for 76 total touchdowns on the ground and 1 rushing touchdown. With only 2 career starts in his time at North Carolina, all coming in 2022, Drake May is really showing he has a lot of potential to become a top quarterback this season and even more down the road. It's for sure a bright future down in Chapel Hill. Moving on to the next quarterback that I have in today's video, it is Oklahoma State quarterback Spencer Sanders, and I'm giving him an A+ for his performance versus Central Michigan. The Oklahoma State Cowboys beat Central Michigan 58-44, and Spencer Sanders may have just had one of his best games he's had in his career as a Cowboy. In this game versus Central Michigan, Spencer Sanders completed 68% of his passes, threw for 406 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, while rushing for 57 yards on the ground and 2 rushing touchdowns. Even though the defense may have not shown up the way that Oklahoma State fans wanted them to, Oklahoma State fans should be very happy for the way Spencer Sanders and that offense flowed in Week 1. Switching things over to the SEC side of things, I'm going to be talking about quarterback from Arkansas, Jefferson. And for his performance versus Cincinnati, I'm giving him an A. In this game versus the Bearcats, he led Arkansas to a 31-24 victory over a good Cincinnati squad, one that's coming off a playoff appearance in 2021. In this game, KJ Jefferson completed 69% of his passes, threw for 223 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, while also accounting for 62 yards on the ground and 1 rushing touchdown. If you're an Arkansas fan, you should be very happy about KJ Jefferson's performance and this big win early on to start off the 22 campaign. With this next player, he is a former #1 player in his class, 5-star recruit Quinn Ewers, quarterback at Texas. This is his first ever career start in his collegiate career, and he's doing it with the Texas Longhorns. Versus Louisiana Monroe, Quinn Ewers, he played pretty well. I'm giving him a B grade, even though I would say he could possibly be considered a B+ grade, but for his performance, I'm going to give him a B. He played well, completed 67% of his passes, threw for 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while Texas won the game 52-10 with ease. For someone that is starting in his first ever college football game, and actually attempting his first ever pass in a college football game, you can't be mad at Quinn Ewers' performance, and overall, I believe he played pretty well. Moving on to this next quarterback, he was one of the most highly coveted players in the transfer portal for the 2022 class, and it's none other than Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. In his first ever career start as a Rebel for Ole Miss, he went against Troy, and Ole Miss would win this game 28-10. Overall, I would say Jackson Dart's performance wasn't as good as some people were expecting, as Ole Miss only put up 28 points, and Jackson Dart would end up completing 67% of his passes, threw for 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 40 rushing yards. I think people expected a bigger game from Jackson Dart, and in my opinion, I think this game was just okay, and that's why I'm giving it a C+ grade. For the people that are really overly critical about Week 1 performances, you gotta remember it is Week 1, and more than likely, anyone that didn't have the performance that a lot of people expected, or ones that people say were disappointing in Week 1, will more than likely have better performances down the road as the season progresses. Sticking with the theme of highly coveted transfer quarterbacks from the 22 class, also playing in the SEC, the next quarterback I'm going to be taking a look at is South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler. For his performance versus Georgia State, I am going to give him a C-, even though you can argue he may also be eligible for a C grade, or maybe if you're really overly critical, maybe even below a C-, but my grade is a C- for his game. South Carolina would beat Georgia State 35-14, and it was close for a good part of that game. Spencer Rattler completed 62% of his passes, threw for 227 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Although this is not the performance that Gamecock fans necessarily wanted to see in Week 1, I understand the O-line wasn't great for that game. I do expect Spencer Rattler to be better, but with this Week 1 performance, I cannot just be a very nice guy and hype him up and give him something like a B, so I'm going to give him a C-. But I do believe he will be better down the line. Moving on to the next quarterback is Louisville quarterback Malik Cunningham. For his performance in Week 1, I'm going to give him a D grade. They faced off versus Syracuse, and this is a game that many people expected Louisville to win, and they ended up getting upset, and they lost 7-31. Malik Cunningham's performance wasn't very strong as well. He did complete 73% of his passes. However, he threw for 152 yards, had 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he got stopped in the rushing side of things, which is probably one of his best traits as a quarterback is his scrambling ability, and he only rushed for 34 yards, averaging 2.6 yards a carry. But you have to give credit when credit is due, and give a shout out to Syracuse as they really showed up and shocked a lot of people in Week 1. Now on to the final quarterback in today's video. It's Iowa quarterback Spencer Petras, and he may have had just one of the worst Week 1 performances for any quarterback on the FBS Division I level. As in Week 1 versus South Dakota State, Iowa did win this game 7-3, and you may be thinking that Spencer threw a touchdown or at least had a running back that scored, and that's not the case at all. This game had no offensive touchdowns at all, as South Dakota would end up with 3 points, and Iowa's offense would only also score 3 points. Their defense would end up scoring more points than the offense, getting 2 safeties for a total of 4 points. But let's get back to the point. I'm giving Spencer an F grade for his performance in Week 1, as he just wasn't very good at all. He completed 44% of his passes, threw for 109 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interceptions, while also having negative 25 rushing yards. Now, of course, that does factor in sacks when you're talking about quarterback rushing yards, but nonetheless, this was not a good week to be an Iowa Hawkeye fan, even though you did win 7-3. Well, guys, we've made this far in the video. If you want to say a quarterback that I didn't mention in today's video, drop their name down in the comment section below, and I'll give them a grade for their Week 1 performance. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.